pray. Dear Heavenly Father, you are holy in all you do. Lord, look upon our city with your mercy. We ask for your protection from illness and sickness. Lord, give the leaders of this city wisdom and discernment in making decisions for our community. Lord, we just thank you for your peace. Be with all city employees, all businesses, churches, households, as they feel the results of this time. And Lord, we pray for guidance to seek your will. Help us to remain steadfast in your promises, Lord, forgiveness and salvation. Through Jesus Christ, who lives and reigns with you in the Holy Spirit, now and forevermore. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much. All right, I'm going to call the Tuesday Common Council meeting to order. Elissa, will you call the roll?
Pash,
Here.
Went,
Here.
Ritten,
Here.
Barth,
Here.
Holthouse,
Here.
Wagner,
Here.
Wetzel,
Here.
Schmid. No Schmid.
I don't see Schmidt.
Kilps.
Here.
All right, will you all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so procedurally, obviously, we're doing a little bit both ways here. Alderperson Wagner is on remotely. Carol will be speaking a little bit remotely as well. If for some reason, as we usually say, if you can't hear us or we can't hear you, just give us the SOS signal and we'll do our best to troubleshoot. The next item on our agenda is comments and suggestions from citizens present. I have one here and it does not appear there are any citizens looking to comment on the meeting. So Mr. Mitchell, if you would please come to the podium and just state your name and address. I will pass that to you when we're done. What's that?
Right there.
You can go to the one right there.
There, sorry.
Jason Mitchell. Oh, sorry, Elissa, thank you.
My name is Jason Mitchell. My address is 211 East Leonard Street, Watertown, Wisconsin. I was given a notice regards to compliance with trailers and whatnot, and I asked Jake if he could show me how I can back the trailer in my backyard. I added on my driveway, I don't know, 10 plus years ago, with a permit, and they came out and measured, make sure everything was good, so I didn't have to park on the grass. I tried to file a variance. The variance they voted down. So meeting with Cassandra Wagner, my alderperson, she said I should file for appeal. I believe when I met with Jake last week, Jacob Moss, he said that I got to go to the county. Is that right, or do we do that in-house with the city? I don't know how all this works. I'd like to be able to use my driveway. I can't get my truck in the backyard. He says I can put a garage door on the back of my garage. I can, but my truck won't fit in through the garage. I can tear the garage down if you want me to park the trailer in the backyard. That's fine. But the value of my property will go down. I want to be reasonable about it. I can park the truck and trailer out on the road if I have another trailer on the drive, but the neighbors aren't going to like that. So how can we resolve this? You know, I'm trying to be reasonable about it all. I'm looking for the next step.
So, go ahead.
What's the next step? I mean,
So during this section, we typically aren't permitted to conversate back and forth, so I'm going to keep my comments short.
Sure.
I know Jacob and Dell maybe have connected with you because I've been touching base with them to make sure that they have. And it sounds like we just need to connect the dots on what to do next.
Yep.
So I'll follow up, and I'm looking at you, Jacob. Let's just make sure we can connect tomorrow, and we'll follow.
Okay.
And we'll include Alderperson Wagner as well.
Sure.
And we'll see what we can figure
Okay.
out.
And would like to get it on a committee that we can talk about that, because I think what's reasonable would move forward, and the people that can't get their vehicles in the backyard should be grandfathered in from that ordinance. I'm in compliance with the 3-trailer minimum.
And those are items that we can talk about, because if you'd like it to go to Plan Commission, which I'm guessing is where it would go.
I'm not sure.
I'm looking
This is
at
all new to me,
Jacob.
so.
And Rose wants me to stop talking. She's giving me the sign, the city attorney. So
Okay.
we'll connect.
Very good.
I'll connect to them tomorrow. Thanks, Rose. It's hard when they're standing here. Not say something.
Thank you. for
You're welcome.
hearing-
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell.
Appreciate everyone that's on the board too, and taking your time off. That everyone's busy. So just appreciate everyone. Thanks.
I see Ms. Hoffman has a pink slip. Come on up. You can just leave your pink slip on the table. We'll grab it from you later.
Hi, so I'm just here to kind of piggyback off of what Jason said. I have experience with when you have a vindictive neighbor and they use, the little details of the ordinance against you. And, these are ordinances that most people don't even know exist until some neighbor decides they're going to really hurt you with it. And so I would just like you to be aware that this is an issue with these little nitpicky ordinances. And, the spirit of the ordinance is great. I support that. But the using the letter of the ordinance to, against each other is not okay. And if you could just kind of be aware of that, and when you're drawing up new ordinances or revising old ones, just think about that, about how this will affect neighbor relations, and how when one guy, has a problem because some neighbor has figured out that he can call on him, and all these other people have trailers all over the place, and they're not in compliance, they don't want to say anything because they're, they don't want to bring it up because they won't have a problem as long as nobody calls. So, there's lots of people who would have a problem with this, except they don't want to let people know that they're not in compliance. So, thank you very much for hearing me.
Thanks. Anybody else? All right, well, I have to back us up because I missed the minutes of the council meeting from July 7th. Are there any questions or comments on those minutes? One meeting in 7 years and I'm just way off the beat, apparently. All right, those will stay as they are printed then. We have 2 public hearings this evening. The first is to amend Chapter 550 of the zoning code through creation of Section 550-34C, Pren 1, Pren N. This is the accessory land use allowed by right, outdoor commercial entertainment incidental to indoor commercial entertainment. I will call that public hearing to order. I don't know where the gavel is. Does anyone wish to comment on that topic? Chief, yeah, I assume there's no one there. All right, I will close that public hearing. Those items will go back to the Plan Commission. Our next public hearing is to amend Chapter 550 of the zoning code through creation of Section 550-56AB, outdoor commercial entertainment incidental to indoor commercial entertainment. I will call that public hearing to order. If anyone wishes to comment, please let us know. All right, and I will close that public hearing, and that too will go back to the Plan Commission. Next is committee reports. We have the Finance Committee of July 13th, the Plan Commission of July 13th, and Public Works from July 14th. Any questions on any of those minutes? All right, very good. We have no old business. Next, under communications and recommendations, we have a library update.
Give you 5 seconds, Tom. Hi, Jonathan Lampe, President of the Watertown Public Library Board of Trustees, here with our Library Director, Peg Checkeye. So we're a little bit incognito with our masks on tonight. I did want to talk a little bit about the resolution that's coming before you, because it is a large resolution. It essentially caps off a couple of years of work that we've done on this project. By way of introduction, I do want to read a quick excerpt from the Daily Times article that ran on this a couple days ago, just to recenter everybody. Watertown Library Board of Trustees will recommend awarding Myron Construction of Neenah a $6.6 million construction bid for the Watertown Library Center renovation and expansion project. Bids for the project were solicited May 29th, and 6 construction firms submitted bids by the extended June 23rd deadline. All bids included a base bid package that covered a bare bones refurbishment and 13 alternate bid options that adjusted project scope and costs. On July 6th, the library board ultimately elected to include 10 of the 13 bids, including options to pave and light the library parking lot, replace aging mechanical equipment, replace leaking windows in the original Carnegie building, and outfit the library with the exterior features depicted in the renderings shared with the community. So the resolution you have with you tonight is essentially those 10 items. When these 10 alternate bid packages were added to each firm's base package bid, Myron's total bid was the lowest, and you're going to see that reflected in the library's numbers. You're going to see a couple of numbers on that sheet if you dive into it. There's a particular number that is the bid packages with everything put together. One of the 13 alternate bids, that's going to be number 12, was related to refurbishing the library's cornice, coping, gutters, downspouts, but the library board essentially elected to pull that one back from current consideration, and we'd like to rebid that work as a roofing bid package to be released later this year. And there's a bunch of details in the article. We can go into that later if you're curious about that as well. Part of what we do as a board is try to get comfortable with the project now. We've spent a whole lot of time working on the revenue side, the fundraising, making sure that we have all of our funding sources in place. But part of what the conversation is shifting to now is making sure that we are, where are we putting the money for a $10 million project? So the first number you're going to notice, and I want to be able to give you enough context to basically draw this out on a napkin. The first number is basically the construction bid. That's about 6.6. Figure that's about 2/3 of the total project. And what that's going to get us is the shell of the building. The exterior, parking lot, mechanicals, those pieces of the building. So we have about 1/3 of the project left. And if you split that into thirds, figure that 1/3 of that goes to outfitting the interior. So that's what we call FF&E, or fixtures, furnishings, and equipment. That is going to go toward making sure that the interior of the library is what everybody expects. We've spent about 1/3 of the remaining third on building acquisition, things like surveying fees, and a few other preparatory pieces that we had to use just to be able to use the site. And then on the remaining piece, we're spending about half of one of those thirds on architecture fees, and we have about the other half for things like roof repairs and the contingency that we want to maintain just in case we encounter interesting things as we work with the old building on a site that has many other old buildings on it. So just want you to be aware of, we say the $10 million project. You have 6.6 ahead of you tonight. So there's some other things coming forward. Some of them we've already talked about. Some of them will be in a future bid package that we're going to be looking forward to for you to process as a city council. So the other thing is that the city is the official agent in terms of building this project. So this is a resolution that's going to be issued by the city in terms of working with the clerk, getting some clarity in terms of how change orders might be coming through. Those will all be coming back to the city council again over time. There are also some other things we've been able to process without necessarily going through the city council. For example, demolition permit for the buildings on site. That happened through some consultation with Historic Preservation Committee. We've been working with the state, DNR, the State Historical Preservation Board, and in some cases, we've been able to double up with some of our partners in the RDA. When the RDA did their historical remediation, for example, of the buildings that they had to take down, we were able to reuse the work that they did documenting the entire downtown district and apply that to the library's initiative as well. So there's a little bit of common use there, which is really helpful. So Peg and I will be here to answer any questions if you have them as we move forward in there. But I just wanted to say thank you again and give you a little bit of a heads up of what else might be coming in this project over the next couple of months.
Thank you. Good. The next item is the Health Department 2019 Annual Report. That is in your packet. Are there any questions for Carol on that one? All right. Then our next item is the recognition of outgoing alderpersons. Typically, in April, when the new alders come in, we do a ceremonial thank you to the alders that have ended their service. This was the first time we were able to offer this in person, so it's going to be a little bit different than it typically is. I'm going to grab a plaque of someone who's not here, but I'm going to invite Alderperson Tim Rather up. Just watch the course. And then once you leave, you can grab your.
Okay, thanks.
Grab yours. I have to say, of all of the alder people that I had the opportunity to serve as an alderperson with, and then in this capacity too, I don't think there was a more level-headed, kinder, well-thought-out alderperson than Alderperson right there. Every time that there was a contentious issue or an issue that required a lot of homework and study, it was always very apparent that Tim did his homework. And there was nothing that I felt like I couldn't approach him about, and no conversation that would be too difficult to have. And I know that your constituency appreciated you stepping up. You stepped in when an alderperson was outgoing, kind of early midterm, and I just want you to know how much I appreciated serving with you and the service that you provided to our community. Chairing the Transit Commission is a success and a feat on its own, and you did it so wonderfully and so willingly and really moved transit to a really positive place, and we couldn't have done that without you. We give people these nice plaques, and the quote that we have on here is, "There is no greater challenge and there is no greater honor than to be in public service," and that is from Condoleezza Rice. So I thank you so much, Alderperson Rather, for your dedication and commitment to our community. You made a long-lasting impact, and we were very fortunate to have you. So thank you. And he's back on the Transit Commission, because I asked him when.
And I got selected to be chairing it again today, so.
Thank goodness. It's a big year for transit, so
Yes,
we're lucky
yes.
to have you.
Yes.
So please join me in thanking Alderperson Rather.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Say something if you'd like, otherwise.
I thank you all for the opportunity for my constituents, and again, I enjoyed my time serving, and sometimes worked as fun as others, but ultimately, I believe we got the job done, and I, thank all my peer group with my other alderpersons, and wish you all the new alderpersons all good luck and take care.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you very much. Yours is right there for you. Thank you, Tim.
I get my name tag, too?
You do. All right. Gotta take off my mask appropriately because Carol's watching. Okay, so our next item off of that happiness is a COVID-19 update. So I'm going to put up a PowerPoint that Carol is going to speak to. So Carol, you just go ahead and let me know when you'd like me to advance the slide. We'll start with local numbers. I think you're muted though, it appears.
I'm
Sorry,
not.
never mind. You're good. We can hear you.
Okay, very good. I did get a little updated technology, so hopefully it's working. So this is the presentation that I've shared with you before. I just updated numbers and the graphs a little bit. And a couple definitions have changed, and I expect that some are going to continue to change as we learn a little bit more about the disease. So just moving along to slide number 2, just a general or a larger picture of what the Public Health Department is doing. We've had 2,771 total investigations. So that would be any individual who has been tested, who has traveled, who's been the hospital contacts, and all contacts of a positive case. We have had 129 total confirmed cases, and that's cumulative. And then on the next slide, this should be very familiar to you. We talked a little bit last time that I presented about probable cases. We had 5 last time. We have, that number hasn't changed, and I don't expect it will unless testing becomes less available again. But probable cases are individuals who diagnostically present, or I should say clinically present, and then are diagnosed with COVID without a test. We have 107 suspect cases, so those are individuals who've been tested and the test result isn't back yet. So we are monitoring those individuals. And then on the next slide, 2,388 individuals are not a case. Their test results were negative, they've recovered, or they never developed illness if they were a close contact and were tested. We have 142 open contact investigations. 91 individuals have recovered. So we have, and this number isn't in the presentation, but just for the sake of discussion, we have 38 positive active cases that we're monitoring right now. And then the next slide just reviews the age range for the positive cases. And as we discussed last time, our 2 largest age range are the 20 to 29-year-olds and the 30 to 39-year-olds. And primarily we're seeing that because that's the population that is, they're providing the bedside care in our nursing homes, in our hospital. They're working in environments where they're not able to social distance. So we are seeing those age groups continue to grow as the disease progresses in our community. The next graph is just over the timeline of positive cases for the city of Watertown. The green part of the graph just gives you a picture of the cumulative cases to date, and then the little yellow lines on the bottom are the new cases by date. And you can see as you look towards the right, I believe that would be the right of the graph as you're looking at it, the last several weeks we've had days where we've had significant cases in one day in a 24-hour period. So as we look at this and think about, some of the information we're putting out publicly on the website and on the Facebook page, some changes that are happening in our community, you can see as you look at these yellow bars that we've had some significantly increase over what we saw over the last several months. And then the next slide is the presentation that we share on the website and the Facebook page every Monday and Friday, just giving a snapshot of our positive cases, our recovered cases, and then our active cases that we're seeing here in the community. And the yellow line is the active positive, so you can see where that jump was in the first part of July and then continuing through today. And then I provided again the phasing graphic that we're using and we're sharing on the next slide. When we are looking at our community and we're trying to provide information to our community members, our businesses, in how to provide the services that they provide, keeping their customers safe as well as their employees safe. Many businesses have been asking for this information, and when we provided it, they had a sense of what they had to do, and they would call and ask questions, but this just continues to provide that education or information to our community in what's happening as far as positive cases per day, our capacity to do the case number that we should be doing. We have a threshold that we should be reaching every week. Our healthcare testing that we have enough testing within our healthcare system. And right now, we're doing really well in that area. Our hospital system, it has been able to manage the cases that they're caring for. Our healthcare worker, that number or that particular data set, that indicator had been yellow a few weeks ago, but our healthcare workers are able to have the PPE that they need. They've had the proper training with wearing PPE. They're taking precautions, so we're not seeing COVID spread in our healthcare workers as we have been seeing previously. A couple of areas, and I didn't highlight above the positive cases per day, but I talked about that we're seeing significant positive cases per day. So we see a red mark there. And then the cases linked to a source. What that means is community spread. So we are having more cases that are not linked to a source. We're not able to identify where they might have been exposed. So as we've all heard that term community spread, we've heard that early in May, that this really is a couple data sets that we use to identify that. And we are seeing that in Watertown. And then our trajectory over 14 days, we've had a significant increase in cases over the past 14 days and actually over the past 21 days. And then the last slide just really explains a little bit more about what domains we use to develop and compile the metrics that were in the previous slide.
Any questions for Carol? Let me pop onto here. No? Any questions from anyone on GoTo? All right, thank you very much, Carol.
Thank you all.
Moving on then, we have no new business at the accounts payable. Your motion on the accounts?
I move to pay all accounts.
Thank you. Motion by Wetzel, seconded by Kilps. Any questions on these? Elisa?
Wetzel,
Aye.
Kilps,
Aye.
Pash,
Aye.
Wend,
Aye.
Britton,
Abstain.
Bartz,
Aye.
Holthouse,
Aye.
Wagner,
Aye.
All right, thank you. Next is reports and miscellaneous business. You have the Airport Commission of July 8th, Branding Committee from October 24th, Cash and Investment Summary of June 30th, Library Board from June 11th, the Licensing Board from July 15th, Reserve Balances from June 30th, and the Tourism Commission from June 11th. Any questions or comments on any of those minutes? Mr. Britton?
Is the branding committee supposed to be from October 12th?
Great
or
question.
24th? Last year?
So I think she didn't put the second one in there because this one wasn't presented to you guys, but we did have a meeting. So there is a new one, so. I'll
So these
resend.
these were minutes that were written but not submitted to the council?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct,
So-
from October. So there is an updated one.
Alderperson Mudler was just a slacker. Someone make sure he hears that,
They
please.
got lost in translation between Melissa and Bob, so.
Okay, I'm just kidding, he was not a slacker. Any other questions on the minutes? All right, very good. Next is licenses. The first is a premise amendment request for the Bar LLC doing business as the Bar at 210 South Water Street to add Suites 1 and D and the outdoor beer garden.
All motion to approve.
Motion by Holthouse, seconded by Bartz. Questions on this one? I don't think anyone's on GoToMeeting anywhere that votes. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, very good. Next is an application for a Class B malt and liquor licenses. This is for Watertown Hospitality Limited Partnership doing business as the Holiday Inn Express at 101 Aviation Way. Eric Unmuth is the agent. Hear a motion.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Motion by Pash,
I'll second it.
seconded by Wagner. Any comments or questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, next is a temporary Class B wine license for the Watertown Area Chamber of Commerce for their downtown wine walk at a variety of locations on Thursday, September 10th from 4:30 to 8:30.
I'll motion to approve.
Motion by Holthouse. Oh, that was you. I'm like, where did that come from? Were you going to second? Seconded by Kilps. Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. And then last license this evening is the application for a secondhand article dealer license for Echo ATM for locations at 1901 Market Way and 624 South Church.
So moved.
Motion by Bartz, seconded by Pash. Questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, very good. Ordinances. The first is ordinance 20-17. This is to amend section 500-9 parent A, parking prohibited in specific places of chapter 500 traffic code of the city of Watertown. This is here from Alderman Schmidt and Public Safety on the second reading.
I'll make a motion for 2017.
Thank you. Motion by Kilps, seconded by Bartz. Any questions on this one? Elissa?
Kilps,
Aye.
Cash,
Aye.
Went,
Aye.
Britton,
Aye.
Barth,
Aye.
Holthouse,
Aye.
Wagner, aye, Wetzel,
Aye.
Thank you. Next is ordinance 20-18. This is to amend Chapter 453 Stormwater Management, Article 1, Stormwater Management Utility, Section 453-6, Acquisition of Facilities, Rates, and Charges. This is here from me and Alderman Pash from both Finance and Public Works on the second reading.
I'll move to approve ordinance 20-18.
Thank you. Motion by Ritten,
Second.
seconded by Pash. Questions or comments?
I'll make
Written.
a comment. We've all seen the presentations that maybe even a couple of times. This is something we have to do, even though it's kind of an unfunded mandate. If we don't do something now, we're gonna have to do something more later. Frankly, this probably should have happened a while ago.
Thank you. Mr. Wetzel?
I was gone 2 weeks ago. As I was reading, it seems like we can phase it in increments and maybe be behind 1 year or so and catch up. It just seems at this time, with everything going on crazy, we don't know what's going on. Seems like it's time not to be adding more to people's life than what they already have. I know many of us, I'm sure, work with people who have lost their jobs because of everything, because of school closings, et cetera. And it might cost $5 a month, but another little raindrop on your head makes life kind of tough and sad at this time. So,
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? All right, Elissa?
Britton,
Aye.
Barth,
Aye.
Holthouse,
Aye.
Wagner, aye, Wetzel,
no.
Kilps,
No.
Cash,
Aye.
Went,
No.
motion carries 5-3.
5-3? Okay. Thank you, everyone. Next is resolutions. Our first is Exhibit 9049. This is a resolution to authorize interim classification and back pay for Megan Schwefel. This is here from me and the Finance Committee.
I move.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Motion by Wetzel, seconded by Wagner. It's weird having Alderperson written right here. I got to mention that to Jordan so he can hear me. I'm not used to having you here, so that's why your Alderperson Wetzel's voice threw me. But it was a motion by Wetzel, seconded by Wagner. Questions, comments on this one? Elissa?
Wetzel,
Aye.
Kilps,
Aye.
Cash,
Aye.
Went,
Aye.
Britton,
Aye.
Barth,
Abstain.
Holthouse,
Aye.
Wagner,
Aye.
All right, thank you. Next is Exhibit 9050. This is a resolution to approve a budget amendment for DigiCorp for IT. This is here from me and the Finance Committee.
I'll move to approve Exhibit 9050.
Motion by Ritten, seconded by Pash. Okay. Questions, comments? Elissa?
Britton,
Aye.
Barth,
Aye.
Holthouse,
Aye.
Wagner,
Aye.
Wetzel,
Aye.
Kilps,
Aye.
Cash,
Aye.
Went,
Aye.
Thank you. Next is Exhibit 9051. This is a resolution to approve change order number 1 to the 2020 Bituminous Servicing Project with Wolf Paving. This is here from Alderperson Pash and Public Works.
So moved.
Thank you. Motion by Wetzel, seconded by Pash. Any questions, comments on this one? Elisa?
Wetzel,
Aye.
Kilps,
Aye.
Pash,
Aye.
Went,
Aye.
Ritten,
Aye.
Barth,
Aye.
Holthouse,
Aye.
Wagner,
Aye.
Next is Exhibit 9052. This is a resolution to authorize the Water Department to purchase a 2020 Ram pickup. This is here from Alderman Pash and Public Works.
A motion to approve Exhibit 905.
Motion by Pash,
Second that.
seconded by Ritten. Any questions or comments on this one? Elisa?
Pash,
Aye.
Went,
No.
Ritten,
Aye.
Barth,
Aye.
Holthouse,
Aye.
Wagner,
Aye.
Wetzel,
Aye.
Kilps,
Aye.
All right, next is Exhibit 9053. This is a resolution adopting a right-of-way dedication for Milford Street and River Road identified in the proposed CSM of current parcels 637 Milford, 735 Milford, 761 Milford, and 795 Milford Street. This is here from me and the Plan Commission.
I'll move to approve Exhibit 9053.
Motion by Ritten,
Second.
seconded by Wetzel. Oh, no one can hear me. They all are doing this. No one saw everyone going like this on the screen?
It's frozen.
Oh. We have a motion and a second, right? Okay. Jordan, can you hear me? You can hear me? Can you hear me back there? Yeah. Jane Ellen, are they still frozen? Oh, yeah, how about that? All right, let's do this. Yep. Let me think. Good thing you guys approved that IT support, just kidding. DigiCorp doesn't do this kind of stuff, that's why we're doing it all the time. I think,
I didn't touch it.
is that still connected to a phone, this black cord?
It's going to, Yep.
Oh, because that looks like we don't, this computer doesn't have the internet.
It should, because I'm connected to it as well.
That's what it's throwing though. That's okay. Oh, here, hold up. We'll give it a try.
I see everybody there. They're all there.
All right, can you guys hear me now? Yay, okay. Crisis averted. All right, so we have a motion and a second on Exhibit 9053, which is the resolution adopting right-of-way dedications. Are there any questions or comments? This is kind of buttoning up the purchase for the Bethesda property, this and the next one. Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, very good, thank you. Next is Exhibit 9054. This is a resolution adopting a right-of-way dedication for Market Street identified in the proposed CSM of the current parcel 905 East Main. This is here from me and the Plan Commission.
Move to approve Exhibit 9054.
Thank you. Motion by Ritten, seconded by Bartz. Any questions on this one? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next is Exhibit 9055. This is a resolution approving the application for a planned unit development at 722 O'Connell Street under Section 550-152C, Parent 2 of the City of Watertown Municipal Code. This is here from me and the Plan Commission.
I'll move to approve number 9055.
Motion by Holthouse,
I'll second that.
seconded by Ritten. Questions or comments? Mr.
I
Ritten?
do have questions on the minutes. It didn't say who voted how for to bring this to council.
I'm gonna, if you don't recall, I can try to segue to Jacob or Jane Ellen. Jacob or Jane Ellen, do you know the answer to Mr. Britton's question? I left
Yes.
Chair Plank, or Finance Committee. We already extended it by over a half hour, so go ahead, Jacob.
Yes, there was 2 votes against. It was by Steve Board and the city engineer, Jane Ellen Holloway, were the 2 nays. And there was 3 in affirmative of it, and that was Wendt, Tony Arnett, and Dan Olenishek.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Melissa?
Holthouse,
Aye.
Wagner. Aye. Wetzel,
Aye.
Kilps,
Aye.
Cash,
Aye.
Went,
Which one is this for again?
This is for 9055. This is to allow the city to apply for a PUD for the recycling building at 722 O'Connell.
Okay, aye.
Britton,
Aye.
Barth,
Aye.
All right, very good. Next is Exhibit 9056. This is a resolution to award the library construction project to Myron Construction of Neenah. This is here from Alderperson Kilps and the Library Board.
I'll make a motion for 9056.
Motion by Kilps. Seconded by Bartz. Questions, comments?
One question, just for my clarity, as I understand these construction bids, how, and I don't know if this can be answered tonight, how do we handle if the contractor comes back and has a request for increase or costs get inflated? Is that identified with overruns in this bid, or what does that look like?
So you can stop me if I'm wrong. The bid carried a contingent factor, but change orders to this come before your committee for public, they'll come to Public Works.
So do we identify a dollar amount in this bid for that, or is it unknown what those change orders will look like? Or what would you anticipate? I mean, historically, what's?
I mean, we just passed a change order for the Bituminous surfacing project. Typically, if we add to the scope, or if something that's already in scope comes in outside the boundaries of what it's being priced at, I know those are when we've done change orders in the past. Jane Ellen does these the most often. I think you did that.
Historically, you would receive a change order when there is a change in scope of work, whether it is initiated by the owner because of a change that they want for whatever reason they want or need it for, or if something was lost or missed in the design, the contractor may come forward and say, in order to complete this, I need XYZ to do so. That was not spelled out in the contract documents. Therefore, to complete this, I need XYZ, and we'll forward a change order forward to the owner. So it can be from both sides. They can be legitimate regardless whether it's the owner initiating the change order or the contractor initiating the change order. That's where it's very necessary that the owner and the contractor and the architect work closely together during the construction phase so that everyone is understanding what's the process as they go through it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Helpful?
Yeah, thank you.
Anything you'd want to add, or are you guys good on that?
The bid that we received, I believe, contains an explicit contingency built within it. So some of that is basically meant to cover the unknown. In addition, we're basically carrying contingency outside of this bid, essentially for something that you need that's outside the contract entirely. So there's contingency is handled a couple of different ways. There's an explicit contingency built into this one for some of the things that are scheduled to come up. Now, some of the things we put out in the bid package.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Comments on this one? All right, Melissa.
Kilps,
Aye.
Cash,
Aye.
Went,
Aye.
Britton,
Aye.
Barth,
Aye.
Holthouse,
Aye.
Wagner,
Aye.
Wetzel,
Aye.
Very good, thank you. Next is comments and suggestions from citizens present. I know I saw you drop one in there.
Theodore Frank, 219 Summit Avenue, and I am actually here to ask when AMVETS will be able to get into the storage site on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays, being an all-volunteer-run organization. knowing that obviously council chambers are open on Tuesday. We've had a member pick up from the street department on Thursday firewood, and the library is open.
Yeah, so we, yeah, that's what I thought. We'll connect, as I said, or at the beginning of the meeting, I am not supposed to converse back and forth during this comment period, but I hear your question, and we'll follow up with you. Our city buildings are remaining closed on Tuesdays and Thursdays with the exception of voting. But I'll have Mr. Moss follow up with you.
Yeah.
He's on the meeting, so he can hear me say that.
And the library and the public works.
Well, the buildings are open to city employees, but our other city buildings are not open to the public on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
The library is, and I have a picture of it. I've got a
Yeah,
picture of.
the library is.
I've
Yep.
got a picture of somebody picking up stuff at First Street.
But Mr. Frank, we'll follow up with you tomorrow. Thanks so much. You want to comment back? Hop up here?
Hello, just want to say hi to the new city council members. I'm Peg Checkeye, the library director at the library. I just want to thank everyone for your support this evening. This has been a project, I've worked at the library for over 20 years. I've been the library director for 10 years, and my whole tenure as library director has been to work to this point where we got to tonight, to award the construction job to Myron Construction. A lot of community support, a lot of library board support, has always been support from the city council, and of course, the library staff and a strong community. So thank you so much for getting us to where we are tonight. I think this is a momentous occasion for Watertown and for the library, and we look forward to seeing everyone at the groundbreaking. A COVID groundbreaking, which we still have to decide what that's going to look like, but Carol will talk.
Thank you, Peg. Any other comments from anyone?
Jason Mitchell, 211 East Leonard Street. On the thing with the health and COVID, do we have a number of deaths in town here? And whether it was 100% related to COVID or if someone had another physical ailment? Just curious.
Yeah, we don't have any COVID-related deaths in the city of Watertown.
Okay, just cases right now with active cases, what, 30-some? I can't remember, I'd have to look
Yeah,
at.
somewhere in the 30s, I believe it
Right.
was.
Okay, just curious.
Yep.
Thanks.
No problem. Any other comments for anybody? All right, with that, I would look for a motion to adjourn. Motion by Wetzel, seconded by Kilps. All those in favor, please say aye.
Right?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.